That'd probably kill 10,000 people. Without first aid and anti-venom, you'll bleed out of your eyes and every single orifice. It is so toxic. It'll be game over real quick. G'day everyone, welcome back to Venom Diaries. Today, we are going to be looking at or talking about what happens when venom hits your blood system and other parts of your body, okay? So we're going to go through the snakes we milk, talk a bit about the symptoms and effects from the different toxins. So there's lots of different toxins with snakes, all right? And we're going to start out with Coastal Taipan, all righty? So a lot of people don't realise there's actually 3 species of taipans in Australia. So we got the Coastal Taipan, which one we're about to look at, the inland taipan or fear snake, world's most venomous snake, and the western desert taipan, which was only discovered in 2006. They thought it was a western brown snake. And there's only been about 25 individuals of that species ever found. They're literally found in a smack bang middle of central Western Australia, just coming into the edge of central Northern Territory. I've only got juvenile taipans in this building. Bear with me. Ooh, mate, these things are firecrackers. And like these smaller snakes are hard to handle. And they mean business. Look at the pale head on him. Pretty typical for a coastal taipan. When you look at the rankings of the 3 taipans, these ones are the second most venomous. The reason why we use this species and not the inland taipan is the inland is so unbelievably toxic that even the smallest amount of venom going into the horse for the anti-venom procedure would kill the horse, all right? So they can't use them. Now, even though they use this species, the venom itself, I guess the makeup of it is so similar, so the anti-venom works fine. Look how alert this snake is. Like, he's constantly looking, he's constantly smelling with his tongue. Look at that, his tongue's going flat out. You know, if I had a young Eastern Brown, it would just be carrying on. Like, it'd just be striking and going absolutely bananas. These guys are very calculated. Out of all the snakes I work with, they make me the most nervous because they'd be easily our smartest snake in Australia and probably one of the smartest, if not the smartest snake on the planet. They're always looking for their next move. If they need to get ready for a strike or someone, they wait for that perfect moment. All right. Now, pre-anti-venom, those that are new to the channel, I have said this on other episodes, but pre-anti-venom, it was pretty well 100% kill rate when someone was bitten by these snakes. All right. So, really fast acting. Woo. And what happens is wild effects. So, you'll actually start to bleed out of your eyes, your gums, every single orifice, right? And your blood vessels start to collapse and you will pass blood, and you can also get brain bleeds and so on. Really, really dangerous stuff. And yeah, there have been quite a few fatalities. Not in recent years, in the last 20 years, there's only been 3 that I can think of off the top of my head. And all 3 of them, one was really unfortunate. It was a snake catcher in central Queensland, like near Rockhampton there, and he got bitten and he just waited a bit too long to put his bandage on. He was getting out of a chook shed. Early first aid would probably really help in those situations with such a fast acting venom. Really, really scary snakes. Even for me, you know, I've been doing this professionally for literally almost 20 years, and these snakes scare me. I'm going to put him away and I'm going to show you something really interesting with their venom. All right, so venoms are different colours and it comes down to the different proteins. All right. And most are like a clear or a yellow, but wait till you see what colour the taipan is. It's really, really cool, all right? But yeah, man, they're just so alert, and a real glossy look to them, really nice snakes. They've got, like the adults have like literally got like a coffin-shaped head to them. And they get big. Australia's second biggest venomous snake. These guys can get up and over 2.5 metres. All right, I've caught one up in Cape York. Mate, it was a big snake. It was like December. The build up for the wet season was going on. It was like 43 degrees, 100% humidity, and this snake was on fire. It was on a road into a cattle state, like right near the homestead, and I didn't want to go up to the homestead, so I jumped out and caught it. And I literally could barely get my hand on it. My mate ended up grabbing a bushy stick for me, and I had it like this, and I was getting it wrapped around that stick so I could sort of move him out of away from people and livestock and so on, and I got him off into the scrub. But yeah, I was fairly stressed. Now, most of your venoms look like a yellowy colour. That's king brown, or a white. Taipan, it's pink. Isn't that wild? Pink venom. So when it's like, this is the freeze-dried stuff. When it's still raw, it's like a hot pink colour. It's really cool. It's dangerous. Like, the amount of venom in there, how many people that could possibly kill? Like thousands of, that'd probably kill 10,000 people. Isn't that insane? But thankfully, we're going to use it to save people, all right, with the anti-venom program. So next snake, death adders. So I have my bin lid with me, the trusty bin lid. Looks like a shield. Going to war. So we'll poke around to the death adders here. Death adders are ranked at the number 7 on the world's most toxic list. So yeah, but the really cool title they have is they're the fastest striking snake on the planet. 350 kilometres an hour strikes, all right? And this one here is a nice, big female. All right, so she's been in the program for about 5 years now, and she's beautiful. Pretty quiet too for a death adder. All right, she's actually pretty easy to work with, this Sheila. Right now, we are in early October, and that's when death adders really start to move around. All right, especially like last night, we had a storm. It was really steamy yesterday. It was 31 degrees. These would have been on the move last night. All right, so they've come out of brumation. They're looking for a bit of food, and then over the next sort of month or so, the males will be cruising around looking for girls. So the females actually excrete a pheromone as they're moving around. Boys will pick up on that and they'll start following. But when they're in hunting mode, this little thing right there, that little lure, very unique with the death adder. That's her caudal lure, so she sit there and wiggle that right near her face, and then boom! Anything that comes close, lizard, mouse, small bird, game over. All right, so firstly, I'm going to restrain her, just like so. Now, the main toxin in these is the neurotoxin. So all of our Australian snakes have got that. And the thing with death adders is, oh wow, it can be really slow onset. And what people will generally start to feel as it starts to come on is that tight chest feeling, and that's your diaphragm starting to paralyse, and then you have those breathing difficulties, okay? But you can also get nerve damage around the bite site. I know people that have been bitten by death adders, gone to hospital, bandage on, they've had been there, blood's taken, no signs of nothing for like 12 hours, and then all of a sudden, they start to feel really sore. Most of the people I've spoken to about this say it feels like they've lied on the road and a road train's driven over them. That's how sore they feel. Just aching. And then that tightness. But thankfully, anti-venom can reverse all that, all right, and slow it down and stop it, okay? Now, pre-anti-venom, it was like 60% of people survived bites from death adders, and there actually hasn't been that many recorded fatalities from this species, all right? They're very uninclined to bite. You've really got to annoy one, or like very accidental stand on one or put your hand on one in the garden or so on. And usually, more often than not, like it's like almost 65% of their bites are dry, okay? They do have a cracking set of fangs on them though. Great delivery system for that venom, and look at that yield there. So that's seriously, that would be bad. That'd be very bad if you had that in the system. So I'll put her away and I'll actually show you one of her fangs. In there, Missy. Death adders have got the second longest set of fangs of any of our Australian venomous snakes. So they can be about 7 mil in length. I don't know if you guys will be able to see with the camera there, but there's a big 2 mil slit down the front of that fang. But yeah, you've got to imagine most of the time when our Australian snakes strike, they just scratch, right? This is being cleaned, there's no venom in it, so don't freak out. They just, like the fangs are fixed into the mouth like that, and they strike because they're not flexible, and they come down like this, and they might spear in a little bit, and it's normally only for split second. I'm not actually putting that into me. It's on the surface there. Don't freak out, mum. It's just going, and that's all it takes. You've got to imagine only a minuscule of that venom's got to get in to ruin your day. Next snake is one of my favourites, the tiger snake. All right, so look at the banding on her. Isn't that crazy? Hence the name tiger snake. But those Tassies, they're like jet black. All right, that just comes down to habitat, where they're from. Much colder in Tassie. So especially those surrounding islands, like Chapel Island tigers, they're big black tigers, and that darkness helps them absorb the heat required to regulate their body temperature. All right. Now, up until the mid-1950s, these guys were responsible for the most human fatalities in Australia. Okay, and then it was taken over. Oh, she's already trying to bite. Then it was taken over by the Eastern brown. The Easterns do make me nervous because they slip inside of their skin and almost come free. So I'm just going to get her on this venom vial. Oh, look at that. These Easterns don't have overly huge yields, but it is so toxic. So this is the 5th most venomous snake on the planet, all right? And you can see the little fangs there. Not much to them, but mate, are they effective, all right, in delivering that highly toxic venom. Now, the wild stuff that happens with these, you've probably seen videos in the past maybe when we add human blood to tiger snake venom, it literally turns into jelly. So that'll happen without first aid and anti-venom, that'll happen inside of all your major blood vessels, and you just end up with these huge big blood clots. It'll be game over real quick. Thankfully, first aid and anti-venom can really stop that. So yeah, really, really toxic. And these Easterns are the most toxic of all the different tigers. And look at the banding on her. Isn't she stunning? And they're a live bearing species. So mum, once she's mated with a good looking male, will start to grow little bubbers inside of her. And then they come out in these little embryonic sacs. They've got a leg tooth just like they would if they were hatched out of a real egg. They're actually a little bit more toxic than mum and dad when they come out. So it's crazy. We literally just get a drop of venom, like a tiny little drop of that, put it into like, you know, maybe 20 ml of human blood, and within about 30 seconds you turn it upside down and it's just a huge big clump. The scary part, because that can happen inside of you, your major blood vessels, if you don't do first aid. All right, so make sure you know your first aid. Rightio, Ripper. We are going to move on to our next snake. Is the king brown. Oh yeah, that's what we want to see. All right, so I'll get him on the pinner. Now, you probably know that I got bitten by one of these after an episode a little while back, and I was allergic to the anti-venom, and I just had a few questions about that, mainly what happens if you're allergic? Okay, so hold on, I'll get him on the vial here, give him something to do while I talk your ears off. Oh, good bite. Oh, he's a double fanger. Double fanger, so he's about to replace, look at that on the right hand side there, he's got 2 fangs. Only one of them is dropping venom though, so the one on the inside is redundant and he's about to drop that one. It's like really scary if you're allergic, but the doctors just give you adrenaline with the anti-venom, all right? So that's how they manage it. And it works really well, and I am living proof of that, okay? So I went to a very dark place that day, but I come out good, and I'm still here now, all right? Okay, so one thing I did recently with the King Browns and King Brown Venom is I'd never actually seen the effects of it in human blood. So we had the care flight doctors in here. We normally do the tiger snakes, it's easy and they're quiet and blah, blah, blah. So we thought we would use a King Brown this time, and we know there is a hemotoxin in the these guys venom, but we didn't think it was that much. Mate, you should have seen what happened. So I actually filmed a video. We'll put it in this. Yeah. It literally turned it into this like thick syrup. It's like honey. That's what your blood turns into, like a red honey. I couldn't believe it. We tipped the vial upside down and it was just hanging mid-air like this, like what honey does. And I was like, whoa. So yeah, but have a go at that. And then obviously they've still got your neurotoxin, and they can do some really nasty localized tissue damage. So you can get bitten by a black snake. This is for all your black snakes, whether it's a king brown, a red belly, a spotted black snake, a Collett's, whatever. They can do some really nasty tissue damage. Okay, so I know a fella that lost his right index finger to a red belly, about a 5 foot red belly. It just literally melted the flesh, and he had to have it chopped off. But if you wore a bad bite to the forearm or something from these guys, and you waited too long to do your anti-venom or your first aid or so on, there's a good chance they might have to amputate your arm, all right? And there was a guy, I've heard mixed versions of this story because it was like 25 years ago, but he was up in the NT, near Daly Water, something like that. He was driving along and they wanted a bit of a mascot at the local pub. So he's driving through at night. He's already had like 6 beers, and there's this, what they thought was a huge olive python on the road. It was a big top end king brown. He got out, got his snake catching kit, which was a plastic bag, tried to put it into a bag, it bit him 6 times. He got on the beers, passed out, ended up in hospital. He was in a coma for 11 days. He lost the movement in both his, because he got bitten on his legs and his arms, lost movement in his arm, one of his legs, just wild, all right? So, yeah, don't do what that guy did. But yeah, here we go, King Brown, what a specimen. And look at that, he's just on autopilot now, chilling away. Imagine that he was attached to your leg or your arm, just like that. That would be scary. Hey, excuse me. Thank you. Now it's time for the Eastern Brown, the second most venomous snake on the planet. Hello, mate. So he's one of our, I guess you could say, quieter Eastern Browns. Good size, probably 5 foot. These snakes now have the title of the biggest killer in Australia when it comes to snake bite. Okay, but it's wild though. 60% of their bites recorded are dry. All right, so they don't always envenomate. Whoa. And you've probably seen on other episodes, I actually pipette these snakes. They've got really small venom yields, but mate, it's toxic. One tiny little minuscule drop can kill 90 people. Isn't that insane? Oh, good yield. Very similar to the tiger snake, it causes that coagulation. All right, so we've done the experiment. It's got me leg locked here. The human blood, and you get those crazy big blood clots. So that obviously will happen in your major blood vessels and so on. And you can actually literally start vomiting your own blood up. And that's the case with the majority. There's actually 9 species of brown snakes in Australia. I know of 2 terrible fatalities that happened in Northern Territory of northern brown snakes where the victims were bitten and literally vomited up almost their entire volume of blood. All right, so really, really graphic and confronting. So I'm going to show you first aid in a sec because I don't want any of you guys doing that. It's normally a pretty well pain-free bite from them because their fangs are so small. Actually, I've got one right here. Isn't that insane? Tiny, but they are so toxic. We see 2 to 3 fatalities a year in Australia from snake bite with people, and 65% of them are from Eastern Browns. Voila, end result. So we've got the different venoms here: death adder, tiger snake, king brown, Eastern Brown. The standout is definitely the king brown with that big dark yellow yield, followed by the death adder tiger, and then of course your Eastern Brown. Let's go do first aid. watch this because it could save your life or someone you know. So, pressure bandage, all right? This one is the smart bandage. So we've got a pressure guide, right? So at the moment you've got rectangles, pull to the correct tension, boom, squares, okay? Now, most people get bitten on the hands, forearm, knees, feet. I'll say I've been bitten on the hands today. Remove any jewelry. If you've got jewelry on, get it off. There's a good chance you're going to swell up. Don't worry about washing the bite site. Don't suck the venom out. You can't suck it out. If you haven't got a bandage, you need to improvise. Rip up your shirt, your shorts, whatever, all right, and start wrapping. So I've been bitten there. I go 1, 2, 3. I do a half wrap below, and then I come up and I'm just overlapping by about 1 centimetre the bandage. Go up. If you miss a little bit of, and there's a bit of open skin, that's fine, don't stress. Get it up there. Tuck her in, go straight over your shirt, don't have to worry about taking up. Immobilise, stay calm, call for help, get to a hospital, get an ambulance to you, whatever you need to do. But the very important thing from this stage now is very limited movement, all right? So venom's travelling through your lymphatic system, which is the glands just below the surface of your skin. It's triggered by muscle movement, all right? So the more you move, even with that on, it will slightly move, but venom will travel 10 centimetres a minute without a bandage. This will buy you hours of time, okay? So, boom, stay calm, get help to you. If someone's there and they can take you to help, that's fine, all right? Remember, if you don't have one, improvise. Don't think, oh, I'm out in the bush and I've got a bandage in my car, it's only 500 metres away. Do not make that mistake. People have made that mistake. Rip your clothes off and get them around the limb, okay? Do not walk. You start walking, boom, game over, okay? Alrighty, that is going to be it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. You know the drill, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you all for the next episode.